Evening, good morning, everyone out there. Welcome to the 106th episode of ClariTea Chat. Um, and here is a toast to the session. Well, today's ClariTea Chat is on an important topic which has got a good mind share of all the leaders, not just CIOs, which is managing risk. Typically in IT, information security is synonymous with risk. But is that sufficient? No. When you look at it holistically, there are many other areas where you have risks which can impact you and the organization. So don't get blindsided by looking at only information security risks. And by definition, as we are talking today, we are talking of risks beyond information security. And as ClariTea Chat goes, we focus not on the technology side so much of IT, but on the managed art of management of IT. So as CIOs, we see the stark reality, obsolescence, security, vendor issues. To resolve these, we go to the management. We ask for money to modernize, but we get asked for ROI. Well, we all struggle with that question, right? What's the ROI of modernization? A structured risk management framework for technology can be a great way to communicate effectively and share accountability of these risks. Therefore, it can be a great way to bring investment for modernization. Now, we will come to how you share accountability for risk. And for whatever I'm telling you here, there is a case study from my own experience. There is an echo, it is coming twice. Oh. Okay. Hey guys, if you are feeling an echo, please. Okay. So I'm getting a feedback that the echo has stopped, but if it is still coming, please let me know. Okay. So in other words, you can actually fix a technical debt and all the things that you struggle to get ROI for by bringing in a proper scientific risk management framework. And you know what? At worst, it can actually you can avoid being nailed down singly for any crisis that happen because of that. So we will cover case studies of my experiences and how I leveraged risk management strategically. Hey, thanks Ajay for the feedback, and thanks to Vijay for confirming that now it's okay. Let's move on. So which forum better than ClariTea Chat to share these learnings for me? I have been actually sharing these learnings one-on-one in the IT conferences with my fellow CIOs. And I realized that, hey, while we all discuss cybersecurity, we probably, should be discussing other IT risks as well. Okay. So, as we go on to the discussion, this is an AMA session. So please feel free to ask your questions. Please feel free to share your experiences. I will be bringing them over here, and it is an opportunity for all of us to have a stimulating and candid discussion on risk management and anything related to leadership and technology. So, and as always, you will find honest answers, case studies, and practical approaches that you can apply in your daily life. Okay, so before I go forward, oh, there is still an echo. Okay, wait, let me fix it. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the disruption. I hope I put an external mic. I mic and speaker. I hope this takes care of the this takes care of the echo. So let me know if the echo is gone. If it is still coming, then we'll try something else. Okay. Okay. So coming back, yeah. And thanks, Abha, for the feedback. At least made me do something. Well, coming back to our audience, we have CXOs, founders, IT managers, and seasoned technology leaders in our audience. All of us know that technology is necessary but not sufficient to drive business performance. The guests on ClariTea Chat have built the bridge between the necessary and sufficient with the art of managing technologies. And ClariTea Chat builds that bridge between their learnings and all of you who are trying to make a powerful impact with technology. So, and it's all about experiences, no gyan. And thank you all for joining us for the last 105 episodes and encouraging us with interactions, questions, which keeps us going. So let us see who we have here. But before that, um, let me request my audience to share your name and where you're joining from in the comment box of LinkedIn or YouTube. Otherwise, unless those comments come in, I feel like I'm talking to a screen, to a camera. But as your comments keep pouring in, there's an integration between LinkedIn and YouTube, and the tool we use is StreamYard, which brings in your comments to me and makes me feel not alone. Okay, so we have Ajay Cyril here who gave us the first feedback. Thank you, Cyril. Thank you, Ajay. We have Vijay Bhaskar, Abha Pandey, and Vijay has given some feedback that for me initially the echo came. I logged out and logged in again, and now it's good. So, guys, if anyone of you out there is getting an echo, just log out and log in. It may be a LinkedIn problem. We did face a big LinkedIn problem last time where your comments didn't come in, and we couldn't respond to them. And later on, we figured out that, oh, there were so many comments on LinkedIn. Anyway, so let's move on, guys. Keep your comments coming. Make your presence felt here, and I'll come back to your comments again. Okay, so now let's understand the first principle of risk management. I talk with first principles. It is a simple question, which is what can go wrong? Okay, you take any area of your operations, strategy, technology, projects, and start asking that question: what can go wrong? Okay, and start listing down all these areas. So that's your laundry list of risks. Okay, whatever can go wrong is a laundry list of risks. But we know that the priority is not the same. There are some things which can happen more frequently than others. There are some things which have a bigger impact than others, and therefore that's the next step. Okay, in the next step, we start evaluating each of these, what can go wrong, from a lens of severity of impact versus probability of impact. Okay, and develop a risk matrix. So, Vinay, if you can bring up that chart, please. Yeah. So if you see here, you have, like, a matrix which is probability is certain, likely, possible, unlikely, rare, or eliminated. And there's a harm severity: minor, marginal, critical, catastrophic. You can do a simple scoring based also, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Let's say, for example, you're looking at your infrastructure risks and you have some hardware which is, let's say, 5-year old. The life was 4 years, and you put a harm severity, well, very high, but then it's just past its useful life. So your probability is rare versus hardware which is 15-year-old, where the criticality is very high, but the likelihood is also very high, and therefore the risk score goes up. Okay. Um, let's say, for example, let's take how to apply it in real life. Vinay, can you bring in the second creative? Okay. So, for example, look at this. This is like, risk matrix of injury. Okay, so stubbing your toe is the risk is negligible, the impact is negligible, but likelihood is like you walk so many steps a day, there's a high likelihood that you will stub your toe. Um, uh, but then if you look at catastrophic, it's a rare. There may be a major tsunami or there may be an aircraft crash. But then if you go by the probabilities of like how frequently these things happen, they happen very, very rarely or very unlikely. It may still happen. But, if you really look at how you want to treat it, it's not really. I don't want to really, um, we don't really want to, plan for it. But of course, let's say car accident, right? It is possible. We drive so much daily. It is critical. The impact can be critical, and therefore very important to wear seat belt, very important to have airbags in your car, and very important to maintain speed limits. So therefore you do something actively for it, right? Okay, Vinay, you can remove it. It's hiding my face. Okay, so so let's take this example. Okay, so couple of things before that. Now, how do you apply it in real life? How do you make it a management system out of it, a risk management system out of it? Number one is the chart that I showed you just now. This should be only for the PowerPoint. For you, uh, an actively managed risk matrix should be actually an Excel. This Excel should have, a category of risk, a level of risk. There are some risks which are at a ground level. There are some risks which are at an organization level. Category level, then the risk itself. Then there should be a likelihood score. There should be an impact score, which is 1 to 5, 1 to 5, and then there should be a multiplication, right? Which is the impact, which is the priority of that risk. Okay, so multiplying these two will give you the priority of the risk, and then you must have a mitigation. Okay, that means you cannot have an open risk. You have to have some way to manage it, right? So either it is an investment that you will do, or there's some contractual condition you will write. So, and this is something that should be a shared Excel within your team. You put it on Teams and ask everyone to actively update it. And whenever you have your system of reviews, do go back to this Excel and keep it updated, right? So the whole effort has to be grounds up. It has to come from the people on the ground that, what are the things that can go wrong. Okay, and then you take it through a system of bubbling up level, and then the priority, and then you basically identify the risks at a organization level. There may be some risks which may be at lower level, but the number of areas that these risks exist can also, you can also combine them and raise them to an enterprise level. So now let's talk some case studies. I promised you case studies. So here is a my first one, which is network redundancy. Okay, so when we were, I mean, I'm sure all of us, even in today's date, we grapple with network outages. Somebody digs the road somewhere and you have a network outage, right? So when we were doing our risk assessment, we found that, oh my God, like, my plants, we had some 6, 7 plants, and each of these plants had one single high-speed network line, an MPLS line. And we said, oh my God, given the number of outages that we see on an annual basis happening, this can really disrupt our operations. So we actually brought in another vendor, another set of last miles, did a huge amount of planning and brought a network redundancy plan. Now, you know where it gets stuck? Costs. Okay. It was costing a few tens of lakhs per year for each of the plants. And when it was not coming through, I figured out that this is lying at the head of manufacturing's desk, because it was adding a few 20, 30 lakhs cost to each of the plants. Well, I met him and I discussed it with him, and then we discussed a simple question, right? He said, "Sir," I said, "Sir, what is the turnover of our company?" It was, let's say, 35,000 crores. How many plants we have? 7 plants. Okay, so each plant is handling a business of 5,000 crores a year, which is almost about divided by 12, almost about 400 crores a month, which is again, if you, it's about 15 crores a day, right? 15 crores a day. I said, so if this network keeps going down somewhere or the other, the loss to business is almost about 15 crores per day. If it takes me 5 days to restore the network, you cannot connect to the ERP, you cannot connect to many of the systems. Well, we find some ways, but still there is a disruption to the business, which in value terms comes to about 15 crores a day. You will make up for it. So you will have to do overtime, you will have to do additional shifts, and you will eventually cover up for it. So the real impact is not 15 crores, but it is not a few thousand rupees as well, right? I think this set him thinking, because probably sometimes our business leaders also do not look at these things from a per day per hour kind of impact of point of view. So it was like, if you convert this 15 crores per day into per hour, the per hour disruption is almost 2 crores worth of throughput not coming out of the plant. And then it did not take him much time to approve it. When we looked at it from a severity of impact point of view, as well as a frequency of impact. The frequency of impact we knew of already was high. It was the severity that we had not calculated in value terms, and we were only looking at the numerator part of it, which is the cost. We were not looking at it at the denominator part of it, which is the business impact. Okay. Well, what's the takeaway? The takeaway is that we must do our math. Okay, and we must do our math not in IT terms, which is the cost of the network per plant, but in business terms. What is the business impact? And that business impact can be many times multiple, right? So now let's look at the second aspect of it, right? I said that doing an effective risk management can also help you in CYA. I don't need to tell you what CYA is, because you keep raising these issues, but then when things still go wrong, all you can say is, I told you so, right? But then you will still get blamed for it. Okay? So having this risk management framework, sharing it with your business leaders, with your finance leaders from time to time, with your management team from time to time, actually can insulate you from bearing the impact of these outages all alone by yourself. Now, let me give you another case study. Um, um, well, I was working in a multinational, you know which, and we used to discuss these kind of things. What can go wrong? What are the risks we have? There could be talent risk, there could be infrastructure risk, and one of the risks we had, naked risk we had, was that there was a very critical storage system which had a huge amount of important data related to engineering manufacturing, which was almost 15 years old, right? Mm. Now you understand that um, for any organization, how much and how critical is the engineering and manufacturing data, and also how difficult it is to transition it from, let's say, one old obsolete storage to another storage. So this thing kept coming up again and again whenever it was time for a budget review, and the budgets kept getting shot down because of the cost. And well, my boss um, kept raising the risk, and then the inevitable happened. One day it went down, and you know what? Nobody could touch my boss, because it was something which was discussed in the management meetings time after time. The budgets, everyone agreed that it cannot be funded, or it should not be funded, despite IT saying that no, this is what it should be. And therefore, the accountability got shared. Okay? Please understand, when we take up such things, anything that we take up in a common forum, there is automatically the accountability gets shared amongst all the members who are there in that forum. Okay, so these are two case studies. One is Just to give you a quick takeaway, never assume all risk yourself. Share it with the rest of the management team. Share it with the guys who get impacted by it, because they should become your joint sponsors of the budget for those risks. And always look at the impact from a business point of view, and not from an IT point of view, right? Okay, looks like I got disconnected for a while. Hey guys, I do not see any comments coming. Please make your presence felt. Sumit, Vinay, are we still facing that issue that the comments are not coming over to us? Let me know. You can, if it is like that, you can actually send me comments in the private chat, and I can bring them up. Okay. Okay. So the second type of risks can be program risks, right? So by definition, programs carry a big amount of risk, because there are so many things which are moving pieces. There are so many decisions which are being taken on the business processes. There are so many technology decisions being taken. There is data to be migrated all the time, and there's training to be done. So typically in PMP, risk management itself is a big module, right? Um, in program, so very important to actively identify and manage risks in any program. Well, so I was, again, I was looking at one of the programs. In my role as a CIO, I have always been a mentor to these programs rather than executing these programs myself. And one of the questions I always ask as a mentor of the program is this: what can go wrong, right? And drive a very systematic risk management. So here, this was I was mentoring a ERP program, and then when I started questioning, many things came out, and these were not related to the core program itself. It was like, for example, the end user machines may not be ready, the printers may not be ready for the new system. Our integrations with some of our other systems itself are very old, that it may not integrate. And the moment we started doing the systematic evaluation of risks, we were able to actually mitigate many things and start certain initiatives or certain work streams which were not otherwise identified even as a work stream, right? So this was a case study from a program risk. And well, in programs, many a times your biggest risk may be in terms of user acceptance and all that. I can give you another example here. Well, when we were implementing these dealer technology interventions, we figured out that some of the biggest adversaries we may have to face, people who may sabotage the program, may be the IT people at the dealership, because they may have a perception that our powers are getting reduced. Okay. And so we mitigated that risk by making them as heroes and stars of those interventions, and then having some special training programs for them, connecting the initiatives to their own career roadmap, that hey guys, if you do this, I mean, whatever you've done, old technology, CUI stuff, we bring a GUI, one of the biggest programs, and you will actually do good to your own career if you learn what is coming rather than resist what is coming. So we built in a lot of, like, these personal empathy related stuff, as well as connecting it to their career and giving them a special treatment. And those guys actually became our big promoters. And what we said was not wrong. Many of them are now automotive industry experts in large organizations. Okay. So now any questions so far? I do not see any questions here. Just give me a minute. Let me check with my team. Okay. So guys, well, some of these behemoths like LinkedIn, they don't care a hoot about customer feedback. 2 weeks back, we had this problem of the comments being posted on LinkedIn, especially on mobiles, which were not showing up to us through the integration. We complained to both StreamYard and LinkedIn, and as anybody having a monopolistic behavior, these guys haven't cared to solve it or even investigate it, and we have that problem again. Hey, so in case you have a question and you want to discuss here, you want to make your presence felt, please connect from your laptop. It seems the mobile comments are not flowing in here. Okay. Okay, let's continue the conversation. Okay. Well, I can see some comments starting to come in. Uh, Here comes Nitin Kumar Singh from Mumbai. Hi, Nitin. And welcome to ClariTea Chat. I have Nitin Harne. Well, that makes a pair, Nitin and Nitin. Hey, thanks, Nitin, for joining from Bangalore on a Saturday evening. And thank you, everyone. My team tells me there are about 20 people on the session without much of, the word going around. I, I've been terribly busy with a big golf tournament where I am one of the organizers, I'm one of the team captains, and I'm one of the sponsors. So I'm actually drinking from the fire hose, and I could only post something around 3:30, and to have a response like this, thank you guys so much. Okay. My team tells me Anand Singh from Agra is also here saying hello. Um, okay, let's move on. So the other type of risk, that you will come across is the vendor risk. Okay. So long back, again, when we were setting up a large program, our selection of technology was very, very strong for a certain vendor. But then we were hearing murmurs about that. So we are talking of vendor risk management here. Well, 90 plus percent of the delivery coming from vendors, 90 plus percent of expertise coming from the vendors. You do have a lot of partner risks or the vendor risks. Okay, you better have a vendor management department, and have an active vendor related risk analysis that you should be doing all the time, right? And keeping your options open there. So coming back, we were setting up a large program. There was a product vendor which was identified, best in class, everything good about them. Great acceptance, coming on top in terms of all the evaluation factors. But we heard rumors about their acquisition by someone, by one of the technology biggies, which put to risk, either continuity of their roadmap, because the the murmur said that the guy also has their own, similar products, or they may kill it, right? So now, how to handle this? So we initially internally discussed, and then we also went transparent with the vendor. We said, listen, this is what we are hearing. How do you think we can still do business with all this? We jointly came to you know certain contractual coverage. So we put in some, what you may call as poison pills. Okay, that means um, if let's say there's a M&A happening, especially on the vendor side, then there are certain protections we get as a customer. Okay, number one of them is assignment of the contract. So generally the contracts do not have an assignment clause. They say that if there's a M&A activity, it will not be binding on the incoming entity. So that means you may have to write the contract again. So we actually went against the flow, and we said that this contract will be assigned if there is a M&A action, right? Plus we factored in other stuff which we jointly agreed, because of course they also wanted our business. We wanted our risk to be mitigated. we were transparent with each other, and we put in certain protections for ourselves. Well, it so happened that a few years later, that company did get acquired by another company, not the company that the rumors were out about, but another company. And these contractual protections actually helped us a lot. For more than a year, we held out. They tried all tricks in their bag to make us sign a new license contract, and we said no. We kept throwing the original contract with them, which had the assignment clause. And then we also kept looking at the direction in which that acquisition is going, what kind of things they were doing, and we actually brought in a lot of protections. We were able to bring in a lot of protections. We were able to negotiate very hard, in lieu of signing the new contract. Okay, so that's how you manage vendor risks. It's all bound by a contract. Put your all your concerns, mitigate them through a contract. The vendor contracts are very, very important. Never ignore them. Okay, and never sign them without reading them. And well, all your power with a vendor is before you sign the contract. Please understand. After you sign the contract, right, they have all the power. But before you sign the contract, they are out there trying to make their quarter, trying to make the month end, and there's a lot that you can negotiate before that. But once you have signed the contract, um, well, you got to abide by it. So better sign it eyes wide open. Okay. So there can be another, there's another use case of this contractual coverage and the vendor risk, which is that many times we want to work with the startups. And what is the biggest risk in working with the startups, right? It's that most startups have a long-term risk, which is whether 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, will they be there or not? And second important thing again, will they get acquired or not, right? So these are again things that I think startups nowadays are fairly mature. They generally put a escrow clause. That means all their code will be lying in an escrow account. If something happens to the company, you will have access to all the code. All the source code will come to you, right? Now, think about it. If you just have this kind of a standard contract, well, if you want to work with the startups, create a separate type of contract for the startups, a sort of template where you identify all the risks, you put all the mitigations, in that contract, give it to the startup and say, hey, you know what? These are the additional terms and conditions that you may have to sign, right? So this is how you take care of the vendor risk, the startup related risks. Okay, so let me see if I have some more comments here. Well, Vijay is asking, is it necessary that only to have a tea in a cup or coffee is also allowed? Vijay, coffee is also allowed. Sometimes I've had this situation that my family is not at home and I need to get something together very quickly. And I actually dip my green tea there. Even today, I figured out that there's no milk in the house. Again, my family is traveling. So I'm having actually a lemon tea, lemon and adrak tea. Cheers to you. Sorry. Okay. So, Vijay, free to have your drink. I can't, I can't hold you to anything other than tea. Okay. So now my team has been able to put some comments, questions from. I don't know how they gathered it from the LinkedIn directly and copy pasted here. Okay. So Vijay has asked a question, which is, which cost down risk managed? Vijay, I couldn't understand your question. Vijay Shah, I couldn't understand your question. Which cost down risk managed? If you can just send the context, that will be great. yeah, many a times, see, when you're looking at, okay, I can sense where it is coming from. What we are saying is that if you are managing the risk, then your cost may go up, but you always have to look at from the impact point of view. That's why I think three times I said that look at risk management from securing the impact on the business rather than your IT cost. Because the way IT costs work are like, a lever, where 1 rupee of IT costs typically results in, I mean, if you look at your IT cost, that's about less than about 1% of your business cost, but that 1% supports 100% of the business. There's no business today which can run without technology, right? So if you simply look at the leverage of IT cost, it is 1 rupee supporting 100 rupees. And that's how the impact needs to be looked at. In this case, what I told you, of about 20-30 lakhs rupees per year was actually able to support, to de-risk the business to the extent of 15 crores a day, right? That's the level of leverage that we generally have. Okay, so don't lose sight of the business impact when you are assessing your cost versus impact. Okay. Neeraj Kumar Sinha says, waiting for the case study. So, Neeraj, we shared many of the case studies. I mean, please let me know if they helped and if there's any other case study you want to look at. Um, and he says, great story, but case study is equally important. Of course, I don't believe in giving theory and gyan. There has to be a case study. Ritesh Gupta calling from Tata Pigments, Jamshedpur. Hey, thanks Ritesh for joining us. We have Chitranjan Kesar asking that we can wait for the case study. Well, I hope you have enough now, multiple case studies. Vijay Shah says AMA excellent step to bring real time on social media channels. So Vijay, looks like you may be a little new to this. This is the 106th episode of ClariTea Chat. There are many people who just wait for it. Every 2 weeks we come. And if you go to www.claritychat.com, ClariTeachat.com, is the same Clarity Chat that you see on the banner here. You will find a YouTube playlist of all the Clarity Chat sessions. There are interviews, there are Ask Me Anything sessions on which are theme specific. Welcome to Clarity Chat. Okay. Then Vijay Shah asks a question. He says, Jagdish, business impact to be calculated as well as thin application layer on reduced power. Vijay, I didn't understand it so much. Let me try to figure it out over a sip. I think you may have to give some context to me. Thankfully, my team has been able to find a workaround. I cannot, generally, the way it works is I actually bring your comments on the screen, and then you can also see what I'm talking about. The only thing is that they're copy pasting it from LinkedIn to the private chat, and I can't bring it here, but I can read through it. Okay. So Vijay, if you can be uh, a little more specific about what do you mean by as well thin application layer on reduced power, we can address it. Okay, great. So let's go back to uh, you know some other areas. Architecture risk. Okay. Well, architecture risk, it is all about technical debt. To an extent, it is also operational risk, but it goes beyond operations because it's all about like your upgrades and being at the right levels of technology, not just about obsolescence. Okay. Well, there is I mean, coming to the case study here, um, we created a KPI to measure architecture risk, and we call it TUI. Okay, so don't laugh. TUI is actually Technology Upgrade Index. Okay, TUI, and you can have two TUI. So we designed two TUIs. One was TUI Major and TUI Patch. Okay, so our IT principle was to be at N-1 from a major version point of view. Every technology we want to be at n-1, major version. So if Oracle is at Oracle 12, we want to be at Oracle 11. SAP is at, let's say, S4 HANA version, whatever, 12, we want to be at like what version 10, whatever is the previous major version, right? So, so it was n-1, and we measured, okay, what are the various systems and softwares we have? What is the latest major version? How many versions we are behind? And if we are behind more than one, then we basically count it out. And then we say, okay, we are 50% out there in TUI major or 70% TUI. And then we have a plan for this 30% or whatever is the missing one. And again, this percentage also gives us a follow-up action on our risk management framework to assess the risk of the remaining 30%, right? How major it is, and because many a times there may be security risks associated with that. Many a times there may be compatibility risks associated with that, right? Then in the minor one, we had patch one, where we always wanted to be on the latest security patch or latest patch level, because these are related to security and vulnerability, and therefore our team had to on a monthly basis, they would kind of look at where we have not been able to apply the patches, and what are the issues, and then we look at that KPI and plan to for upkeep. If we are not able to upkeep either on major or minor, then we take those issues and put them in the risk framework, because it's not always possible to keep it up to date. But if you're not able to keep it up to date, you must have a corresponding risk, which is mapped both from, I mean, with both the identifiers, which is the severity of impact and the frequency, right? Um, well, so that was what I had for today, which is to look at IT risk management. So let me summarize this now. So we started by looking at the first principle of risk, which is the question that what can go wrong, right? And then the second step is what's the likelihood of it going wrong? That means what's the probability or likelihood or frequency, you may call it, and what is the impact of it going wrong? And we showed you a couple of charts, but then my advice was to actually do it as a live risk register, all on Excel as a table, keep it updated, review by review, keep it updated, and always keep looking at it. That's number one. Number two was that don't keep it to yourself, share it with your management team, use the risk management framework as a way of getting investments from the leadership team, and keep making people aware. Using a risk framework also helps you find allies and sponsors for your modernization plans. So use that. We also discussed a couple of case studies. One was about the cost of having a network redundancy, an additional cost versus the business impact it is going to be able to mitigate if there's a network downtime. The other one we discussed was another case study about um, you know, an obsolescence risk being discussed month after month, quarter after quarter, for investment, the investment not getting approved. And when that risk manifests itself, the equipment went down, it was not the CIO to blame. Okay, so it had become a collective accountability of the entire management team, which did not approve the budget for it. So use the risk management framework and use the communication that you do on your risks as a CYA also. Okay. Then we discuss about the program risks. Again, an active question of actively questioning, review after review, daily meeting after daily meeting, what can go wrong, and then identifying the mitigations, or stuff for your governance meetings, whatever you cannot cover by yourself, right? Then we discussed about vendor. I discussed about a case study where using this active risk management discussion on what can go wrong actually led to many things being identified, right from end user machines to data migration to even training and change management related issues. Then we talked about the vendor risks. I talked about how you know I told a case study about how using how having an active discussion on the risks related to an incoming vendor helped us transparently thresh out all the issues, build in a lot of contractual terms and conditions to mitigate those risks. And a few years later, when these risks got manifested, we were able to hold our ground and not come under the pressure of the acquiring vendor when it came to implementing a new set of rules and conditions on us, just by having those contractual protections. And then we also discussed that in case of startups, one major area where you can accelerate your engagement with the startups is to have a set of terms and conditions in your contract that help you mitigate the startup related risks. And these risks tend to be common, so you can actually convert it into a template and discuss with your procurement team, with your vendor management team, and then accelerate your engagement with the startups. And last, we discussed the architecture risks, all about technical debt. And I discussed the case study where we invented a new KPI called Technology Upgrade Index, and we created two versions of it. One was TUI Major and TUI Minor. TUI Major was for coming to the -1 level of the technology everywhere, and then doing your IT planning from an upgrade and obsolescence control point of view using that particular technology upgrade index, and making it part of the management discussions. And then a minor one where we look at a sum total of all the patch level applications and what percentage are we able to reach. The moment you start measuring it, you will, as they say, what you measure can gets managed. When you start measuring them, you will be able to manage them. Okay, initially it will be a bleak picture, but you will realize that, hey, there are so many low hanging fruits by which you can simply take it up to a certain level, and beyond which you will definitely require management help, you will definitely require investments, and you will definitely require some funding to manage those, right? And if you have a good risk management framework where you're able to prioritize these investments, where you have, let's say, high impact, high frequency kind of risks, make it transparent that this is my overall risk, these are the four top risks that I must manage or we must manage as an organization. That actually helps you keep things transparent, as well as not needing to have a ROI discussion. Rather, the ROI comes from the prevention of crisis on the business front, right? And that impact is much bigger. We talked about the impact between the IT cost versus the business cost, and there is easily a 1:100 kind of leverage that exists, that if you spend 1 rupee in mitigating IT risks, it actually results in saving you 100 rupees on the business side of risk. You can test it out actually on any of the IT risk areas. You can test it out, and you'll find that the multiplier is huge, right? Okay, so I do see some stuff here from my team. Okay, well, it says that I'm still able to hold your attention, guys. We are at 5:51, 10 minutes away. So if there are any last questions, you can ask me, or we can release each other for the weekend. Well, I do need to go for a party. Looking forward to it. There's some launch here, and I'm sure you guys are also looking to go to a mall or a movie or a dinner or a family dinner. So uh, let's close the session. We still have the LinkedIn problem. Your questions are not coming to me, so I can't help it. but I'll be absolutely frank. I've seen this behavior before from LinkedIn. They don't care about customer service a lot. I hope there is some AI out there listening, transcribing me, and then giving a feedback to the LinkedIn guys. I can just hope for that. And now I'm really worried whether, next weekend when we come up with the next ClariTea Chat, are we still going to have that problem? So my request to everyone, guys, please open your laptop for once on a weekend. We're not getting comments from the mobiles. Okay. So thank you everyone for attending this. We had about 15 to 20 people all the time. And thank you so much. And thank you, my team, who was able to mitigate the challenges thrown by LinkedIn by passing on those comments to me through a private chat. We could at least talk about it. We could not show it here on the screen, which we do all the time. But we could at least do something. I at least could know that you guys were writing something, you guys were engaging. Thank you so much. And before I close, thank you to all of you who are watching the recorded versions. And I know a lot of you, rather most of you, watch the recorded version of this session. A big thanks to you guys too. Well, you get to ask some questions if you attend it live, but anyway, I think there are some people who are helping you ask your questions to me. So thank you so much, everyone, and we will be back on next to next Saturday, which is on 16th of December 2023 for our fortnightly session. Most likely an AMA, as I said, the multiple things going on. We're working on Flock and Go, our startup. There's a major tournament going on where I'm playing 3 different roles: organizer, sponsor, and a captain, a team captain. Well, our team is right now on top of the leaderboard. Thank you so much, whoever is appreciating that. And we'll see you on 16th December. Till then, bye bye, namaste, and have a great weekend. See you.